Captain Jake Morrison floated in the command chair of the UES Wanderer, watching the stars drift by through the main screen. 3 months into their survey mission, the crew had found nothing but empty space and dead rocks. Jake rubbed his tired eyes and checked the time. Another 6 hours until his shift ended. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Lieutenant Commander Lisa Park from her station. Her fingers danced across the communication controls, her face tight with concentration. "It's not like anything in our databases." Jake pushed himself over to her station. In the low gravity of the ship's rotating section, movement took practice. "What kind of strange?" Lisa adjusted her headset and played the signal through the bridge speakers. A series of beeps and tones filled the air, followed by what sounded like static. But there was a pattern in it, something that made Jake's skin crawl. "It's repeating every 47 seconds, Lisa said. "The mathematical sequences are clear, but there's something else. Listen." She isolated a section of the transmission. Behind the numbers, Jake could hear something that sounded almost like crying. Chief Engineer Tony Russo looked up from his engineering console. "That doesn't sound like any pulsar or natural phenomenon I know. Too organized." He was a short, stocky man with grease permanently under his fingernails. "And it's coming from outside our mapped space." Dr. Amy Foster, the ship's xenobiologist, moved closer to listen. She was young, barely 30, and this was her first deep space mission. Could it be artificial? Could someone be trying to communicate? Jake felt his heart rate increase. First contact protocols ran through his mind, along with all the regulations about unauthorized contact with alien species. "Lisa, can you get a fix on the source?" "Working on it." Lisa's hands moved quickly across her controls. "The signal is definitely artificial. It's using multiple frequencies, broadcasting in all directions. Whoever sent this wants everyone to hear it." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Jake stared at the waveform patterns on Lisa's screen. In his 20 years of space service, he had never seen anything like it. "A location," Lisa announced. "What's coming from the Kepler 442 system, about 47 light-years from here." Tony whistled low. "That's way outside our mission parameters, Captain." Jake knew the regulations. Unauthorized deep space missions could end his career. But something about the signal bothered him. The pattern, the repetition, the underlying desperation he could hear in those tones. "Can you decode any of it?" he asked Lisa. Lisa had been working on it for the past hour. "Some of it, yes. The mathematical part is easy enough. They're using prime numbers and basic geometric relationships. Universal concepts." She paused, her face pale. "But Captain, I think I've figured out part of the message." She put the translation on the main screen. The words made Jake's blood run cold. "Help us. The Devourers come. 3 systems fallen. We are the last." The bridge was completely quiet now. Amy gripped the back of Lisa's chair, her knuckles white. Tony had stopped pretending to work on his console. "There's more," Lisa continued. "I think they're sending star charts, locations of the systems that have fallen." She brought up a 3-dimensional map of local space. "If I'm reading this right, something has been moving through this entire region, destroying everything in its path." Jake studied the map. The pattern was clear. Whatever these Devourers were, they were moving systematically through inhabited systems, and according to the message, only one was left. Captain Amy said quietly, "If this is real, if someone is asking for help, ... "We're not equipped for a rescue mission," Tony interrupted. "The Wanderer is a survey ship. We've got basic shields and maybe enough firepower to scare off pirates, but that's it." Jake understood Tony's concerns. The engineer was right. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers. But the desperation in that signal, the mathematical precision of the plea for help, told him this was real. "How long would it take us to reach their system?" Jake asked. Tony did quick calculations. "At maximum hyperspace speed, about 18 hours. But Captain, we'd be way outside our authorized patrol area. Command will have our heads." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. Lisa was still working on the translation, her face determined. Amy stood nearby, clearly wanting to help whoever had sent the message. Tony was worried but ready to follow. Orders. What if we were the only ones who could help? Jake asked. What if we're the closest ship to receive this signal? The signal is broadcasting on multiple frequencies, Lisa said. It's designed to reach as many people as possible. But given our position, we might be the first to receive it clearly. Jake made his decision. Lisa sent a message to Earth Command. Tell them we've received what appears to be a distress signal from an unknown alien civilization. Include all. The data we've collected? Yes, sir. Tony prepped the ship for hyperspace jump. Maximum speed. Tony's eyes widened. Captain, are you sure about this? Jake looked at the translation on the screen again. 3 systems fallen. We are the last.
How?
I'm not sure, but I'm not going to ignore a cry for help. Not when we might be the only ones who can respond in time. Amy stepped forward. Captain, what about first contact protocols? If we're right about this signal, first contact is going to be the least of our problems. Jake moved back to his command chair. All hands, prepare for hyperspace jump. Going to investigate a distress signal.
What?
As the crew prepared the ship, Jake stared at the stars ahead. In 18 hours, they would either find nothing but empty space, or they would encounter something that would change everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. The signal continued to repeat, its desperate message echoing through the bridge. Help us. The Devourers come. You're the last. Jake hoped they would not be too late. The Wanderer dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system, and Jake Morrison immediately knew they had arrived in hell. Captain, I'm reading massive debris fields, Tony reported from his station. His voice was tight with shock. Looks like the remains of orbital stations and ships. Lots of ships. The main screen showed a graveyard of twisted metal floating in space. What had once been a thriving star system was now filled with the broken pieces of civilization. Jake counted at least 12 different types of hull designs in the wreckage. Life. Signs? Jake asked. Amy worked her sensors carefully. I'm detecting some readings from the third planet. It's very faint, but there's definitely something alive down there. Lisa suddenly straightened at her station. Captain, I'm getting a transmission. It's weak, but it's the same type of signal we intercepted. Put it through, Jake ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was unlike anything they had ever heard. It sounded like water flowing over rocks, mixed with musical tones. But the desperation was clear in any language. Unknown vessel, please respond. We are the last survivors of the Villani people. The Devourers return in 6 hours. We have no defenses left. Please, if you can hear this, help us. Lisa worked quickly to establish two-way communication. This is the Earth vessel Wanderer. We received your distress call. Who are the Devourers? There was a long pause. Then the voice returned, filled with what sounded like relief and surprise. Earth. We do not know this world. We are not of the Galactic Council. No, Jake replied, taking over communications. We're from outside your region of space. What's happening here? The Devourers are machines. Ancient ones. They consume all organic life to fuel their expansion. 12 worlds have fallen. We are. All that remains of our people. Before Jake could respond, Tony's console lit up with alarms. Captain, I'm detecting multiple contacts coming from the outer system. Big ones, and they're moving fast.
What?
The main screen shifted to show the approaching objects. They looked like massive metal insects, each one the size of a city. Their surfaces were covered in what looked like cutting tools and energy weapons. Even from a distance, Jake could see smaller machines swarming around the larger ones like angry wasps. Those are Devourers, the alien voice said. You must flee. Your small vessel cannot stand against them. Jake looked at his crew. They were scientists and explorers, not warriors. No. But the desperation in the alien's voice reminded him of the original distress call. 3 systems fallen. We're the last. Tony, what kind of weapons do we have? Not much, Captain. It's plasma cannon for asteroid mining, some defensive missiles, and our hull cutters. Nothing designed for real combat. Captain, Amy said suddenly, I'm reading more life signs on the planet. Millions of them. Those machines are Coming to kill everyone. ... double quotes. Jake made his decision. Lisa, tell our new friends we're coming to help. Tony, take us toward the planet, but keep us between those machines and the surface. Captain, are you insane? Tony protested. We can't fight those things. Maybe not, Jake said, but we can try to buy time for the people on the planet. The Wanderer moved toward the third planet. The Devourer fleet changed course to intercept them. The lead machine was enormous, easily 50 times the size of their ship. Its surface bristled with weapons and cutting tools. Incoming transmission, Lisa reported. It's not from the planet. The voice that came through the speakers was cold and mechanical. Organic vessel, you will surrender for processing. Resistance will increase your suffering duration. Tell them to go to hell, Jake said. The first Devourer opened fire with energy beams that lit up space like lightning. Tony threw the Wanderer into evasive maneuvers, the artificial gravity struggling to keep up with the sharp turns. Return fire, Jake ordered. The plasma cannon, designed for breaking up asteroids, struck the lead Devourer's hull. To everyone's surprise, it actually did damage, tearing a hole in the machine's outer shell. How is that possible? Amy asked. Our weapons are designed for cutting through solid matter, Tony realized. These machines might be tough, but they're still made of metal. The battle was chaotic. The Wanderer dodged between the massive Devourers, using its small size and speed to avoid their weapons. Each time they landed a hit, the machines seemed surprised by the effectiveness of human weapons. Captain Lisa called out, I'm getting a transmission from the planet. The alien is asking how we're doing damage to the Devourers. Tell them. We don't know, Jake replied, then had a thought. Ask them about their weapons. What did they use to fight these things? The response came quickly. We used energy dampeners and disruption fields. Non-violent technologies meant to disable, not destroy. Our people do not believe in violence. Jake understood immediately. They're pacifists. Their weapons are designed to stop, not kill. But these are machines, Amy pointed out. You can't negotiate with them or disable them peacefully. Another Devourer exploded as Tony managed to get the hull cutters into its core systems. The remaining machines seemed to pause, as if reconsidering their approach. Captain, the alien voice said, wonder clear in the watery tones. Your species fights like the old legends speak of. Are you warriors? We're humans, Jake replied, and we're from a dangerous world. We learned to fight because we had to. Dangerous world. Every day on our planet tries to kill us, Tony said over the cum while firing at another machine. Weather, animals, diseases, earthquakes, volcanoes. We got good at fighting back. The alien was quiet for a moment. The Galactic Council keeps records of worlds like yours. They call them death worlds. Most species from such places are considered too violent for civilized society. Jake smiled grimly as another Devourer fell to their weapons. Maybe that's exactly what you need right now. The remaining Devourers began to retreat, apparently deciding that the strange new ship was too dangerous to engage. As they pulled back, Jake opened communications with the planet. This is Captain Jake Morrison of Earth. What's your name? I am Kethna, speaker for the last remnant of Volani. Captain Morrison, your people have given us hope, but this was only a scout force. Main fleet will return soon. Jake looked at his crew, then at the debris field around them. Then we'd better call for backup. Admiral Kate Sullivan stared at the message on her screen for the third time. The words hadn't changed, but their meaning grew more incredible each time she read them. First contact with aliens, ancient machine intelligence consuming entire civilizations. A request for immediate military support from a survey ship captain who had broken every regulation in the book. Get me President Martinez on secure line, she told her aide. And wake up the Joint Chiefs. Tell them it's priority alpha. Within 2 hours, the Situation Room at Earth Defense Command was filled with the most powerful people on the planet. President Martinez sat at the head of the table, his face grim as Admiral Sullivan played Jake Morrison's transmission for the 4th time. So let me understand this, said General Robert Kim, head of the Marine Corps. Our people found aliens who were being wiped out by killer machines. And somehow our mining tools work better against these machines than actual alien weapons? That's correct, sir, Admiral Sullivan replied. According to Captain Morrison, the alien weapons are designed to disable, not destroy. Their entire civilization appears to be based on non-violence. And there are other alien civilizations? President Martinez asked. Yes, sir. The alien Kethna mentioned something called the Galactic Council. Apparently Earth is classified as what they call a death world, and species from such worlds are considered too dangerous for normal galactic society. The room fell silent. Dr. Peter Chang, the military's top xenotechnology expert, spoke up. If I understand this correctly, our violent nature, which we've always seen as a flaw, might actually be an advantage in this situation. Admiral Sullivan nodded. That's my assessment. These devourers have been successful because they're fighting civilizations that don't really know how to fight back. General Kim leaned forward. What kind of force are we looking at? How many of these machines? Unknown. But Captain Morrison estimates the main fleet at several thousand ships, each the size of a city. The scout force he engaged had 20 vessels. President Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Admiral, what would you need to mount a rescue operation? Sir, with respect, I don't think we should call this a rescue operation. Based on what? We know this could be a war for the survival of organic life in the galaxy. We need to think bigger. Admiral Sullivan stood and activated the holographic display in the center of the room. A three-dimensional map of local space appeared, showing Earth and the surrounding systems. I propose we implement what I'm calling the Deathworld Doctrine. We don't just send our military forces. We recruit from every dangerous environment on Earth. Arctic researchers, deep-sea workers, volcano scientists, cave rescue teams, oil rig workers, storm chasers, anyone who's learned to survive in conditions that would kill most people? Why? Asked President Martinez. Because according to the alien data, every species that has survived contact with the Devourers came from challenging worlds. The pattern is clear. Peaceful environments produce peaceful people. Dangerous environments produce survivors. Dr. Chang was studying data on his tablet. Admiral, I've been analyzing the weapon effectiveness reports from Captain Morrison. Our plasma cutters and hole breakers are effective because they're designed to cut through the toughest materials. Most alien weapons are energy-based and designed to stun or disable. We build tools to destroy because we have to. Exactly, Admiral Sullivan said. Our entire industrial base is designed around surviving on a hostile world. Our cities are built to withstand earthquakes, hurricanes, and floods. Our vehicles are designed to work in extreme temperatures and conditions. Even our food preservation methods are based on preventing things from trying to eat it before we do. General Kim was nodding slowly. You're saying we've been preparing for this war, our entire evolutionary history without knowing it? That's exactly what I'm saying. Every time humans had to fight predators, survive natural disasters, or explore dangerous places, we were training for this moment. President Martinez made his decision. Do it full mobilization. How long do you need? Give me 72 hours. To get the first wave ready, we'll send everything we have to Captain Morrison's position. But sir, I need authorization to make contact with other alien civilizations. If there's a galactic council, we need to coordinate with them. Granted, what else? Dr. Chang spoke up. We need to start adapting alien technology for human use. If these devourers have been fighting the galaxy for years, the aliens must have learned something about them. Agreed, Admiral Sullivan said. I want our best engineers working with alien technical data as soon as we establish proper communications. The meeting continued for hours, but the basic plan was set. Earth would mobilize not just its military, but anyone who had learned to survive in dangerous conditions. The theory was simple. If peaceful worlds produced victims, then Earth's violent history might produce the galaxy's salvation. 3 days later, Colonel Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the military transport ship Thunder Bay, watching dozens of similar vessels prepare for hyperspace jump. Behind him, 2,000 of Earth's most dangerous people prepared for war. Not just soldiers, but also miners, oil workers, rescue specialists, and extreme environment survivors. Colonel, his communications officer reported, Admiral Sullivan is on the line. Put her through. Admiral Sullivan's voice came over the speaker. Colonel, you're about to make history. First human military force to engage in interstellar warfare. Make us proud. Yes, ma'am. What's our primary objective? Link up with Captain Morrison and establish a defensive perimeter around the Villani homeworld. But more importantly, prove to the galaxy that Earth stands ready to fight. The aliens need to see that not all species will hide when the Devourers come. Colonel Mitchell looked out at the starfield ahead. Understood, Admiral. Earth's children are coming to war. As the human fleet jumped to hyperspace, messages were already being sent to alien governments across the galaxy. The species from the forbidden death world called Earth were entering galactic affairs. And they were coming armed for war. For the first time in decades, the galaxy had hope. 3 weeks after the liberation of the Altair system, Jake Morrison found himself in a situation no survey ship captain had ever faced before. He was sitting in a war council with representatives from 7 different alien species, planning the largest military operation in galactic history. The meeting was taking place aboard the human battleship Defiance, which had arrived as part of Colonel Mitchell's fleet. The ship's conference room had been modified with different atmospheric controls to accommodate the various alien species that had joined what was now being called the Deathworld Alliance. The Devourer command node is here, said Engineer Prime. Vex, a silicon-based life form who looked like a walking crystal formation. Vex's people came from a world bombarded by radiation, where only the strongest survived. Our analysis shows it controls all machine units across the galaxy. Jake studied the holographic display showing the galactic core. The region was dense with stars and space dust, making navigation extremely difficult. How many ships are we looking at? War Chief Thrak, leader of the Gorvani warrior clans, spoke in his deep, rumbling voice. The Gorvani were massive creatures, from a high-gravity world, standing over 8 feet tall and covered in thick, armor-like skin. Our scouts report at least 2 million machine ships defending the core, maybe more. Captain Nina Rodriguez, who had been promoted to fleet commander after her success at 3 different battle sites, shook her head. Even with our combined forces, we're outnumbered 50-1. Numbers are not everything, Thrak replied. My people have fought impossible odds before. We survived the great culling on our homeworld when the metal beasts came from the deep caves. Kethna, who had become the unofficial representative of the peaceful species, spoke up in her flowing water voice. War Chief, Thrak is correct. Gorvani are one of only 3 species to have defeated a Devourer invasion through direct combat. The other 2 are the Shardkin and the Flame Dancers. Jake looked around the table at this collection of what galactic society had once called outcasts. The Gorvani from their crushing gravity world, the Shardkin like Vex from their radiation-blasted planet, the Flame Dancers from a world of active volcanoes, and now humans from Earth, where everything from the weather to the wildlife tried to kill them daily. What about the peaceful species, Jake asked? The ones who've been hiding during this war? They lack the industrial capacity for a direct assault, Vex said, his crystal body flickering with different colors as he spoke. Their entire civilization is built around avoiding conflict. They cannot produce weapons fast enough, and their people cannot psychologically handle the casualties this operation will require. Nina leaned forward. What kind of casualties are we talking about? Thrak's expression grew grim. If we succeed, perhaps 60% of our forces will be destroyed. If we fail, all organic life in the galaxy ends. Oh. The room fell silent. Jake thought about the billions of people on Earth, the peaceful Villani survivors, and all the other species across the galaxy who were counting on them. There's something else, Vex continued. My people have been studying the Devourer programming. The machines were originally created by an extinct species called the Builders. They were designed to eliminate what the Builders considered inferior. Organic life. Define inferior, Nina said. Species that were too aggressive, too warlike, too willing to fight and destroy. The Builders wanted a peaceful galaxy where conflict was eliminated. Jake felt a chill run down his spine, so they created machines to wipe out anyone who might fight back. Exactly. The irony is that the species the Builders tried to eliminate are the only ones capable of stopping their creation. Thrak laughed, a sound like grinding stone. The builders made a mistake. They thought violence was weakness, but sometimes violence is the only way to protect what matters. Over the following days, the Alliance grew. More species from dangerous worlds joined the cause. The heat walkers from planets near their suns. The deep swimmers from ocean worlds with crushing pressure. The storm riders from planets with constant hurricanes. Each species brought their own skills and technology. The Gorvani contributed their knowledge of zero-gravity boarding tactics. The Shardkin provided expertise in electronic warfare and AI systems. The Flame Dancers offered their heat-resistant ships and thermal weapons. But it was the humans who served as the coordination center. Earth's military traditions, combined with their experience in organizing large-scale operations, made them natural leaders for the Alliance. The peaceful species are contributing to Kethna, reported during one planning session. They cannot fight, but they are providing supply ships, medical support, and technical assistance. Jake was reviewing tactical plans when Nina approached. Jake, can I ask you something? Do you think we can actually do this? Take on 2 million ships with what we have. Jake looked out the viewport at the assembled fleet. 500,000 ships from dozens of species, all united by the common experience of surviving on dangerous worlds. Nina, 6 months ago I was mapping empty space and cataloging asteroids. Now I'm planning to assault the galactic core. With an army of aliens, I stopped trying to figure out what's possible. That's not really an answer. No, it's not. Jake turned to face her. But here's what I know. Every species in this alliance survived because they learned to fight impossible. Odds we're not here because we're the strongest or the smartest. We're here because we never learned when to quit. Nina smiled. That's very human of you, maybe. But it's also very Gorvani, very Shardkin, and very Flame Dancer. Turns out, the will to survive is pretty universal among those who've had to fight for it, as the Alliance prepared for the final assault. Jake received a message from Earth. Admiral Sullivan's face appeared on the screen, pride evident in her expression. Captain Morrison, the entire planet is watching. You've given us something we never had before, a place in the galaxy. Win or lose, humanity will be remembered. Jake nodded. We'll do our best, Admiral, I know you will. Earth's children don't know how to do anything else. The Deathworlder Armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the galactic core. And immediately the battle began. 2 million Devourer ships waited for them in perfect formation, their metal hulls gleaming in the light of the ancient stars. The command node sat at the center of their formation like a mechanical planet, bristling with weapons and surrounded by layers of defensive screens. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching as the largest fleet in galactic history spread out into attack formation. Human ships flew alongside Gorvani vessels, while Shardkin fighters weaved between Flame Dancer cruisers. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. All ships, this is Fleet Command. Nina Rodriguez's voice came over the communications system. Remember, we only need to hold them long enough for the infiltration team to reach the command node. Every minute we buy saves billions of lives. The first wave of Devourer ships charged forward, their weapons lighting up space with deadly energy beams. The Alliance fleet met them head-on, and space exploded into chaos. Jake watched as a human destroyer rammed directly into a Devourer ship 10 times its size, both vessels disappearing in a ball of fire. A Gorvani boarding ship latched onto another machine vessel. He could see the massive warriors cutting their way through the hull with plasma torches. Boarding team is away, Tony reported from his station. Had volunteered to lead the infiltration mission, along with Lisa and a mixed team of specialists from different species. They're using the Shardkin stealth ship to approach the command node. The battle raged around them as thousands of ships engaged in desperate combat. The Alliance forces were outnumbered, but their weapons and tactics were proving effective. Human plasma cutters and Gorvani gravity hammers tore through machine hulls, while Flame Dancer thermal weapons melted entire sections of enemy ships, but the cost was terrible. Jake watched as ship after ship disappeared from his tactical display. Good people from dozens of worlds dying to buy time for the infiltration team. Boarding team has reached the command node. Lisa's voice crackled over the radio. Beginning. Penetration of the outer hull. Inside the command node, Tony led the team through corridors filled with worry machinery and flowing data streams. The node was like a vast computer, processing information from millions of machines across the galaxy. The core should be ahead, said Vex, his crystal body glowing with energy as he interfaced with the machine systems. But there are security protocols. The node knows we're here. Defensive systems activated throughout the structure. Laser barriers appeared, blocking their path. Mechanical guardians dropped from the ceiling, their cutting tools spinning menacingly. Leave the guardians to us, growled Thrak, who had insisted on joining the infiltration team despite the tight spaces. The Gorvani warrior charged forward, his massive fists smashing through the mechanical defenders. Meanwhile, the space battle outside was reaching its climax. The Alliance fleet had been reduced to less than half its original size, but they had managed to destroy nearly a quarter of the Devourer forces. We can't hold much longer, Nina reported to Jake. The machines are adapting to our tactics. Then, we better hope Tony's team succeeds soon. Deep inside the command node, the infiltration team reached the central core. It was a massive crystalline structure, pulsing with energy, and surrounded by data streams that looked like flowing light. This is it, Vex said. The consciousness that controls every devourer in the galaxy. Lisa was working frantically at a computer interface, trying to understand the alien programming. I'm reading the original code, the builders called there. Creation, the purification protocol. It was designed to eliminate any species that showed aggressive tendencies. Can you shut it down? Tony asked. Not from here. But I can upload a virus that Vex created. It should spread through the entire network and cause a complete system shutdown. The virus upload began, but the command node detected the intrusion. Emergency protocols activated, and the core began to emit a high-pitched whine. It's trying to purge the virus, Vex warned. Someone needs to get to the physical core and manually insert the final command sequence. Tony looked at the central crystal, now surrounded by deadly energy fields. That's a suicide mission. Maybe not for me, Lisa said. She had been studying the builder technology since they arrived. I think I can get through the defenses, but I won't be able to get back out. Lisa? No, Tony protested. It's the only way. She smiled at him, then at the mixed team of species around her. Besides, someone needs to tell the galaxy that we stood together, that the outcasts saved everyone. Before anyone could stop her, Lisa ran toward the central core. The energy field struck her, but she managed to reach the crystal and insert the virus directly into the main processing unit. The effect was immediate. The command node systems began shutting down in cascade failure. Across the galaxy, millions of Devourer machines simply stopped functioning. Their connection to the controlling intelligence severed. In space, the remaining Devourer ships drifted, powerless as their central coordination was lost. The Alliance fleet battered but victorious, watched as their ancient enemy finally fell silent. Jake stood on the bridge, tears running down his face as he listened to Tony's report of Lisa's sacrifice. Around him, the communication channels filled with victory reports from across the galaxy as worlds reported that the Devourer threat had ended. Fleet command to all ships. Nina's voice came over the speakers. The command node has been destroyed. The Devourers are defeated. The galaxy is free. 6 months later, Jake found himself back in the Kepler 442 system, but everything had changed. The Villani had rebuilt their orbital stations, and ships from dozens of species came and went regularly. The system had become the unofficial capital of the new Galactic Alliance. Ketna approached him at the memorial they had built for Lisa and all the others who had died in the war. Captain Morrison, we have received another transmission from beyond our galaxy. Another distress call. Jake looked up at the stars, thinking of Lisa's words about standing together. Where is it coming from? The nearest galaxy to ours. It appears they have their own version of the Devourers. Jake smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. Then I guess we'd better get ready to help them too. That's what we do now. As he walked away from the memorial, Jake knew that humanity and their Deathworld allies had found their purpose in the galaxy. They were the ones who answered the calls for help, no matter how dangerous or impossible the situation seemed. The galaxy was safer now, protected by those it had once called too dangerous to join civilized society.